stuff on today, or is that your African-centered stuff? You
African
look
centered,
military. You look
man.
military.
Yes, sir. Because we are at
All
war.
right. That's right.
That's
We're
right.
live in living color right now.
That's right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Power Podcast All-Star live stream series. We've just been having a phenomenal time. This has been a historic series. The numbers have been off the charts, and thanks to you and your family and your love and your sharing to make sure that people are tuning in to get this critical information. So just in case you don't know, I am your co-host, Brother Bedford, and I want you to do a few things before we get ready to have this phenomenal evening. I'm extremely excited about tonight. I can't wait to absorb the information that we're about to receive from Pastor Freddie Haynes and Dr. George C. Fraser. So before we get into the rest of the evening, I need you to do a couple things. First, go ahead and type in below, what's your name, where you're from. Let us know where you're from. Let me know that you can hear me. Let Linda know that you can hear her as she's going to be responding to some of your Q&A in the comment section. I need you to also like this fan page and follow this fan page. That's George Fraser Fans. Make sure that you follow this page. Therefore, you'll get notified for all of the upcoming all-stars that we have coming, the thought leaders, the entrepreneurs, the business owners that we have, the best and the brightest from our community. You want to be notified when we go live. And I also want to notify you from all of the past events that we had. So you can go to www.newblackpower.com. And then therefore, I'll be able to notify you when we're getting ready to go live so you don't miss anything. And the last thing I want you to do before I turn it over to our host is that I want you to share. I need you to go ahead and share this live stream right now. Let everyone know that we're live and in living color with Dr. George C. Fraser and Pastor Freddie Haynes. So we need you to do that right now. And as I get ready to turn it over to Dr. George C. Fraser, we always talk about the 6 best-selling books, the over 30 plus years in our community of being the father of the networking conversation in Black America, all of the awards, almost 400, if not more, 400 awards that he's received. But one of the awards I just want to introduce him with tonight is something that we don't say often, but considering the type of leadership that we're witnessing today, I think it's important to acknowledge that in 2016, Dr. George C. Fraser received the Lifetime Achievement Award from President Barack Hussein Obama, one of those awards that we very rarely talk about, but which is so prestigious. And I think considering the leadership that we have today, I think many people would love to receive and hear from our President Barack Obama in this time. So without further delay, I want to turn you over into the hands of our host for this evening, Dr. George C. Fraser.
Thank you, Brother Bedford. Now, this is one of the few times on our All-Star Power podcast I'm going to genuflect. I'm going to genuflect. I don't do this for a whole lot of people, but for the brother we have on today, I probably ought to introduce him on my knees, but he wouldn't have it. He wouldn't have it. He doesn't roll like that. But joining us tonight is my favorite pastor on the planet. When I'm in Dallas, that's my home church, the Wild Wild West, Friendship West, none other than Frederick Douglass Haynes, Reverend Dr. Frederick Douglass Haynes. I just want to welcome you. I see you in your library. I see what's behind you: books, knowledge, intellectual curiosity, which leads to critical thinking, which leads to the most innovative usage of your survival skills. Because Black people are survivors. We made a meal out of chitlins, Reverend Dr. Haynes, right?
Yes, sir.
So we got it like that. But behind you is a body of knowledge. I think it was Socrates who said that the only good thing is knowledge, and the only evil is ignorance. Socrates, the only
Mm.
good is knowledge, the only evil is ignorance. And
Yeah.
I am just, and really, in a sense, you intimidate me a bit, even as an elder, simply because of your empathy, your compassion, your love for our people, your humility, and your brain. I think it's your brain that intimidates me a little bit. And I say that with love. There's one thing I'll never forget. I got to tell this little story about Reverend Dr. Freddie Haynes. For the last 7 or 8 years, Dr. Haynes has done the closing sermon for the Power Networking Conference. And it was the year before last, because last year he had an excuse. I called it an excuse not to be there. He called and said he was in a plane crash, right? I said, well, you're holy like that. Get out the plane and I'll see you in a couple of hours. He said he had a back injury, he had a knee injury. But anyway, so it was the year before last, and he is the last voice you hear at the Power Networking Conference, because he has it like that. It's Saturday night. That's when we're closing it, around 5 o'clock. And he talks, he preaches, he teaches from about 5 to around 5:45, 6 o'clock. And so we're sitting there at around 4:45, and our mistress of ceremony is introducing Reverend Dr. Freddie Haynes, right? So I'm sitting next to him, and he's listening to her. And then he reaches, he leans over to me and whispers in my ear, he said, Doc, now what's the theme again? What's the theme? So I tell him, I gave him the theme. He said, okay, I got it. Of course, I had texted him this theme maybe 6 months ago, then 3 months and 2 months. Somehow or another, all of this stuff, it got lost, but that's okay. So he's just finding out the theme I want him to pivot on to close the whole thing down about 10 minutes before he's ready to do his thing. Well, he got up there, as if you've ever seen him preach, no notes. I think he just had his socks on and a jacket, and he tore the roof off the sucker. I don't know, no notes, nothing. I mean, I don't know how a human being does that. I prepare weeks for a major talk. It took him 10 minutes to put all of his stuff together and blow the roof off the sucker. That's intimidating. Even to, I think I consider myself to be a fairly good speaker. That's intimidating and impressive. So what I'm going to do now, because I want to embarrass you a little bit. I just want to embarrass you a little bit, because I got to read some of your bio, because it takes a really deep dive into who you really are, right? There's nothing you talk about, nothing you brag about. You don't beat your chest about it. You don't talk to people about who you are. So I just want to embarrass you a little bit. I know this is not something you would say, I would like for you to read my bio. No. So I just want to do it because I want people to know who you really are. So I'm going to do a dramatic read of the bio as best as I can. But this, brothers and sisters, is Reverend Dr. Freddie Haynes. Reverend Dr. Frederick Douglass Haynes III is a prophetic pastor, a passionate leader, a social activist, an eloquent orator, and educator, engaged in preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ and fighting against racial injustice. Dr. Haynes is also committed to economic justice and empowerment in the underserved communities and touching and transforming the lives of the disenfranchised. For the past 35 years, Dr. Haynes has served as a visionary and innovative senior pastor of Friendship West Baptist Church in Dallas, Texas. Under his servant leadership, the ministry and the membership of the church has grown from listen to this now, 100 members, less than 100 members in 1983 to over 12,000 members today. After experiencing racism in the segregated South, Dr. Haynes' father decided it would be best that his family move to San Francisco, where his father, Dr. Frederick Douglass Haynes Sr., pastored the historic Third Baptist Church. And at the age of 14, Dr. Haynes' life took a turn, and a drastic turn, when his father passed away on his first day of high school. Following his father's death, Dr. Haynes encountered many difficulties, but with the help of mentors, his family, and God, was able to overcome every obstacle. Dr. Haynes continued his education at Bishop College in Dallas, Texas, and graduated with honors in 1982. While a student at Bishop College, he also became the member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. We're not going to hold that against him. I'm a Sigma, but I still love him anyway. This was now in 1986, he earned a Master's of Divinity degree from Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary. And in 2005, Dr. Haynes received his doctorate in ministry from the Graduate Theological Foundation, where he was afforded the opportunity to study at Christ Church, Oxford University, and Oxford, England. His dissertation was, in quote, "To turn the world upside down, church growth in a church committed to social justice," reflects his commitment to faith-based social activism. Finally, a community activist, Dr. Haynes formed alliances with partnerships with local community leaders and Dallas city officials to fight social justice, domestic violence, and poverty. Dr. Haynes was frequently invited to the White House in order to address issues ranging from the state of the economy to voting and civil rights. He was publicly applauded by President Barack Obama for developing the Thrive Intern and Leadership Program, which employed nearly 100 Black youth males between the ages of 16 and 19. And since its inception, the program has expanded and now employs both young men and women with local businesses and at the church at a pay rate above minimum wage. He is a lifelong learner, and Dr. Haynes is committed to education and has led Friendship West to donate over $2 million to historically Black colleges and universities and students who are members of the church and the greater Dallas community. Finally, as a reflection of his commitment to community transformation and social consciousness, Dr. Haynes serves as in various leadership positions and capacities in organizations that champion social change in education. Among them, the Samuel DeWitt Proctor Conference, the Conference of National Black Churches, the National Action Network, and 100 Black Men of America. He also serves as a member of the Board of Trustees at Paul Quinn College in HBCU in Dallas, Texas. He has been married to the beautiful Deborah Peak Haynes for 32 incredible years. Welcome to this platform, to this podcast, Reverend Dr. Frederick Douglass Haynes III. Freddie Haynes.
Wow. Wow.
No, thank you.
You so much.
No, that's a wow on your life, right?
Well, it's a wow because number one, I was introduced by the legend, the icon, the phenom himself, the incredibly gifted and brilliant George Fraser. And then number two, he made me out to be a whole lot more than I am. And so I just pray that God will forgive both of us, because
Yes.
I'm praying God will forgive you for lying and then forgive me because I love the way you lied about me. So the only thing on there that's true is I'm married to a wonderful woman for 32 years, and that is an achievement on her part. She has survived and succeeded in spite of who she's married to. But I want to thank you very much. I cannot find words sufficient to applaud you and laud you for the gift you are to Black people, which makes you, as far as I'm concerned, a gift to the world. And history is going to applaud you because when Black people were beaten down and made to feel that we were second-class citizens, God used your genius to remind us that greatness is a part of who we are. It's in our DNA. And as a consequence, not only are you always lifting up us to make us aspire higher, to live out what we've been impregnated with, but then you embody excellence yourself. And so you are a proud, powerful Black man that I look up to, I thank God for. And again, our community is better because we have a George Fraser. As far as I'm concerned, I shared this behind your back. I say it now to your face. We celebrate the giftedness of LeBron James, who is still doing the thing all these years in. And all we can say is, well, we got a LeBron James and George Fraser. So we thank you so much for being our LeBron James. Brother Bedford, I salute you. Thank you for your leadership. And let me just say thanks to both of you that you've given us this university experience of inspiration during this craziness. And so I just think, again, it just speaks to the genius that you are, and I'm honored to be a part of it. So thank you.
No, thank you, Pastor Haynes. If you will do us the honor of leading us in an opening prayer, that would be awesome.
Glad to. Be glad to. Shall we go to God? God, we thank you and praise you that you are God even in the midst of craziness. As a matter of fact, you specialize in intervening and getting in the midst and the mess of craziness to bring something good out of it. We reverently recognize that you are sovereign even as we feel our lives are spinning out of control. We thank you and we praise you that you refuse to give up. You refuse to give up on us, and that you have plans for us, plans for good, plans for us to prosper, and plans for a future and a hope, even in the midst of this crisis. We thank you and we praise you that you're such a good God, that you specialize in what may be intended for evil, yet somehow you bring good out of it. And so we thank you that you don't waste crises, but somehow you take a crisis and you creatively birth a new world out of that crisis as you use us as your instruments. And yes, oh God, you use us as your tools to bring about the birth of a new world. And so I thank you and praise you for the gifts that have brought to us this season where we, oh God, don't waste it being depressed and distressed, but instead we use it for development. We use it to envision what could and should be so that we don't waste this crisis, but instead we partner with you as the spiritual obstetricians who birth a new world, even through the labor of a pandemic crisis. And so we're praying now that you, oh God, will help us even in this session this evening to hear from you, so we, oh God, can again serve as your midwives and help us to birth something phenomenal, supernatural, by way of our Black possibilities, so that we, oh God, can come out of this stronger, wiser, and even birthing our Wakanda. We ask it all in the name of our Lord and Liberator, we pray. Amen.
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 We're going to first deal, and you mentioned it, the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
The elephant in the room. This once in every 100-year pandemic. So unless you're 102 and you were around during the Spanish flu,
right,
this is the first time you've ever experienced this. That would be 98, 99% of certainly the people in this country. last week we had Reverend Dr. Jamal Bryant on, a young up and coming minister. You probably know him out of Atlanta.
I'm familiar with him. Yeah.
So he's a frat brother. He's a frat brother, right? And I asked him this question. I'm going to ask you the question. And his answer was fairly provocative. And he said that America is, for the first time, witnessing the niggerization of America.
Yeah. Yeah. Good
And he
word.
unpacked that fabulously and beautifully.
Yeah.
But he got everybody's attention. What are we learning? God works in mysterious ways. There's something he's teaching us.
Yeah.
From your perspective, and you even alluded to it in your fabulous prayer. What do you think, if you want to unpack that? What are we, two things, what are we learning? What do you think people, especially our people, are missing?
Yeah.
Two-part question. What are we learning and what are we missing?
Yeah. I think we're learning that there's a deeper virus in the soul of America. The coronavirus, COVID-19, that's physical, but there is a soul virus that has been eating away at the body politic of this nation from her birth, because the nation was never honest, but instead engaged in hypocrisy when it talked about its practice of democracy. And so because that virus has never been dealt with, the sad reality is we see manifestations of it right now. I can rush, of course, and speak to the disproportionate way that this virus is attacking Black communities, not because we are less healthy, but because of the sickness of the soul of this nation that creates what? Zip code injustice and environmental racism and medical apartheid. All of those existed as the real underlying social conditions in this nation. But now we're discovering, I love Jamal's term, the niggerization of this country, and that is, you may segregate us, but you cannot segregate a virus. And to remix Martin Luther King Jr., an infection anywhere is going to be a threat to your good health everywhere. And so this nation is really learning that it's a lot sicker than the virus is even exposing. And as a consequence, we're witnessing right now a part of that virus is not just racism. I'll deal with that in a matter of moments, but it's also that we're governed by greed. And that governing by greed is causing many in leadership to take cues from, the greedy one in chief, COVID-45. And in essence, we're saying, we're more concerned about the wealth of the economy than the health of people. And if you're more concerned about livelihood than life, the sad reality is there is no life, no livelihood without living. So I think that is being exposed, and it's why Martin King, as he was, in his last years, was challenging us to take a good look at analyzing capitalism and racism and militarism, because if they are not dealt with, then the sad reality is the virus spreads and the virus gets worse. And again, now, and it's sad, it's really sad, we're also witnessing that there are those in this country who are numb to the deaths of others as long as it's not them. And so they don't mind saying, ignorant statements like the Lieutenant Governor of Texas, who said there's some things more important than living, determined to open up the economy while the country is still broken. And so again, it reflects a virus in the soul of this country that, if it is not dealt with, will come out of this crisis worse than when we went into it. But the good news is that I think this country is going to learn that our only saving hope is in Black people. If we're going to redeem the soul of this country, we're going to have to deal with and listen to those of us who got soul. And
Right.
because we've got soul, we know what it's like to live every day in pandemic-like situations and predicaments. And so because we know how to deal with it, and then come out swinging, come out creating genius and brilliance and improvising and doing what others have not done, the beautiful thing is this nation has a chance to learn from us what it means to have soul in order to get rid of the virus in its soul.
What are we missing? What do you think we are missing? Is there something that we're missing? Is there something going on, something that you feel in your spirit? Now, you may have already articulated, so that, is there something we're missing that you need to bring to the attention, certainly of our people, in terms of what we must do once we get beyond this, the lesson? But in your mind.
In terms of our people, and I'm going to borrow from this genius named George, last name Fraser, the Superman isn't coming to rescue us. We're going to have to rescue ourselves. We have to recognize that this country is sick, and we cannot allow a sick country to make us unhealthy.
Yes.
Because the virus is real contagious, and it's up to us to protect us, to build for us, and to create. And again, I really don't want us to underestimate your vision, where you basically said that Wakanda is not just a movie for us. It has to be our reality. It has to be our possibility that we give birth to. And I'll be honest with you, I think we're missing that as a people. And that is, there's an interesting divine timing in that, 2-3 years ago at this time, we were hyped about Wakanda. A virus was on the way to let us know we better get to building Wakanda.
That's on the real.
On the real.
Yeah, that's powerful. We certainly seeded that idea last year at the Power Networking Conference when we birthed a new nation, Fraser Nation.
Yes.
And we will continue to build on that. We've got some incredible stuff coming up. And we will be introducing at the conference this year. You'll be back this year as well.
October.
The year before, the year before last, for the first time, you did an incredible workshop. It was packed. People were standing all around the walls. They didn't even imagine that Freddie Haynes would do, in quote, a workshop. What you got? You talked Dr. Freddie Haynes into doing a workshop, right? Yes, we did, because it was framed properly. And one of the reasons I wanted to start by asking you the question on COVID-19, or as Black folk call it, Rona. We see, we don't reduce
Rona.
it to Rona. Okay, the Rona's up in here, right? Well, we are famous for changing the meanings of words.
Oh yeah,
but anyway, but just extemporaneously in that 7 to 8 minute presentation, if you will, you crafted a very powerful message. I don't know if that's giftedness. It probably is some giftedness, or there's some methodology that you have habitualized in the conscious and subconscious mind to be able to take almost anything, even a single word, and craft a message of empowerment, which is really what the title of your workshop was at the Power Networking Conference a year and a half ago. It'll be the title of your workshop at the Power Networking Conference, October 14th through the 17th, how to craft a message of empowerment.
Yeah.
Why don't you give us an hors d'oeuvre, not the full meal, just an hors d'oeuvre on your thinking around that, the philosophical foundation from which you draw from to be able to so magically do that. Now, I don't know if we're gifted with the photographic memory as you're gifted with that in a great way, but there are other ways to do it without having that giftedness as well. Can you speak on that for us?
Oh, be glad to, be glad to. When I think of the concept of crafting messages of empowerment, I rush to old school R&B back in the day. And there was a song, y'all too young to know this song, so I just go ahead and give it to you. And there was a line, a liberating line that for me becomes my theme that fuels what I'm trying to do when I think about crafting a message of empowerment. And the line was, for God's sake, we've got to give more power to the people.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever else is going on, when you think about the concept, I want to craft a message of empowerment. For God's sake, we've got to give more power to the people. And so that becomes, that energizes me, that helps me to envision what it is I'm trying to do, because it speaks to the fact that, I mean, the genius of those lyrics is that it's the 60s and our people are in a struggle for freedom. They have lived, 350 years of being disempowered and inspired now by the Black Power movement and the Black Panther Party. The whole concept is Stokely Carmichael and saying we need Black power, which entails economic development. It entails taking control of our own destiny. And so the brilliant, the genius of that R&B group, they said, you know what, let's put that to music. For God's sake, we've got to give more power to the people who have been disempowered. We've got to make it our business to empower them. So that's the concept. And so for me, that helps me with the text for this kind of conversation, because one text is, she is with the ancestors now, Toni Morrison. We lost her on this side last year, but her words speak profoundly to us right now. When Toni said, she said, this is precisely the time when artists go to work. This is no time for despair, no place for self-pity, no need for silence, no room for fear. We speak, we write, we do language. And then she adds this line, that's how civilizations heal. Toni Morrison did not say that during the COVID crisis. She didn't say it during Rona, but it applies to this time, because if we are going to heal, we have to see ourselves as artists. And for God's sake, we got to give more power to the people. So that's my first text. The second text is.
So you get a line. First of all, you get inspired by a line. You have a theme, the line.
Yeah.
This inspires the building of your text. That you
say that. Yes, sir. I mean, and that line just grabbed me, because again, when you look at the context in which that song, derived and out of which it was inspired, I mean, that line right there, it just said it all. If I'm going to be serious about crafting a message that empowers people, I got to be conscious of the fact that my people have been systemically disempowered, structurally disadvantaged. That's why we've got to give more power to the people. And so when I read George Fraser and hear George Fraser lifting up the genius of Black people, what is George Fraser doing? He's giving us images that inform our identity. And once our images inform our identity, there's a sense of, I can do this. And once I say I can, that's powerful right there. That's an empowering, affirmation. That's the word I'm looking for, an empowering affirmation. I can. Yeah, I can build a community. I can go back to school and get my education. I can do this. And the reason I can is because of the power of language. So Toni Morrison just grabs me. Language heals civilization. So language empowers, and that for me becomes a text. And then it reminds me of the biblical text of Genesis 1, because it says we're created in God's image, and God did God's creating of humanity on the continent of Africa. And when God did it, God created those first Africans in God's image and likeness. And what really gets me is that God says, okay, you're in my image and likeness, gives us the power to speak. And in the chapter before, God creates out of nothing the heavens and the earth by speaking. God says, let there be, and there was. And God does that and creates us in God's image and says, if I can create something new out of nothing, and you are in my image and likeness, that means this whole universe is word or voice activated. This whole universe is language activated. And the power of language to empower and create is something that we have been gifted with. And again, if we're honest to the text, those first created individuals were created looking like you, looking like me in Mother Africa. And God says, okay, you're in my image and likeness. I just created with language something out of nothing. Don't ever forget the power of language. And so for me, that's why I love the concept of, oh, wow, language can heal, messages can empower. And even the Bible later on, it talks about power of life and death is in the tongue. And so we have power once we conceive it and recognize that we are artistic. That, again, that Toni Morrison was just amazing. We are artists. And so whenever I'm speaking, I am speaking as an artist and using language to heal civilizations. And then for God's sake, give more power to the people.
Yeah. Damn. You just gave me a bolt of lightning there. And I never understood this until you really just unpacked it. I've written 6 books. My gestation period is about every 5 years.
Wow.
But you just said something that was just an aha moment for me. I can't write my book until I create the title first. I never knew why. It is the title, and I struggle with the title. And I have the way I write books is I have a folder and a little tab on the folder. On the tab is the title, or certainly the working title of the book.
Right.
And I do not start writing until I deeply think about that. I sleep on that. I stew in the juices of what I want to say. And the title has to be squeezed out of me like a baby. And once that is in writing on the page, I go to work.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Right. And you just unpacked why that is and how that works.
Yeah.
I just thought that was an odd way to begin writing a book, right? But that's really how you write a sermon. Or now you don't even write your sermons, but that's how you create your sermon. That's a hell of a nugget, and we should be charging people for this, right? Y'all, I think we're reaching about 17,000 people. Y'all owe me $1 a piece. Okay, just email it to me. All right, $1 a piece, because that's a nugget. That's a nugget for all you aspiring speakers and writers.
Yeah,
that's a nugget.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
that nugget has to inspire and empower you. That's the thread from which everything will come.
Yeah.
That's powerful. That is powerful. Now, Dr. Freddie Haynes will be at the Power Networking Conference in
And you know
October.
this.
He's going to do a workshop on this. So remember, he just gave you a nugget, right? You're going to get a full meal in his workshop. He is generous with his words. He's generous with his ideas. He's extraordinarily transparent. He is even humble enough to take stupid questions. Because I know in the last workshop he did, I asked a couple of stupid, but there really are no such
Not
thing
at
as
all.
stupid question, right? There's no such thing as stupid question, right? Okay, so that's a powerful nugget, powerful. Let me ask you this. This is personal. What keeps you up at night?
Wow. Number one, I mean, the plight of our people. Because, and I'll say both the plight and the possibility.
Yeah,
I need to rush to say, I mean, I love being Black. It's like, I love Black people.
it's a gift. It's a gift.
It is a
Blackness is a
gift.
gift.
Man, it's a gift. It is
That's
such
right.
a gift. And to watch how we have navigated, negotiated this crisis, you know, DJ D Nice gets on Instagram and creates a huge club quarantine. Only Black folk can come up with that. And so when you think about it, there's just a genius that we have been blessed with.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we are the most attacked people.
Yeah.
This country ain't supposed to work for us, but we make it work anyhow.
That's
And
right.
what keeps me up is the toll, is the price we pay, trying to make it work, though it's not supposed to work for us. And so I'm always wondering, okay, how can, I mean, our possibilities are so phenomenal, but at the same time, you know, what we're up against is so entrenched. And in many instances, we are so determined to be accepted by a people who most of the time don't even respect our humanity. And that bothers me, because my thing is, all we got to do is keep being us, just keep doing us. And if we keep doing us, the possibilities are so unlimited. So it's a wrestling match I go back and forth with our plight, but at the same time, I'm energized with hope by our possibilities, because can't nobody do it like us.
No, ain't no question about that. So I got to make a confession. Now, almost everybody out there knows that I grew up in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, New York. 11 children, 8 boys and 3 girls, and my sister, Emma Fraser Pendleton. We are the lightest of the 11 children, right? Looking
Right.
light, bright, and almost white. There's a long story to that, but we're the lightest of the children. And all my brothers are chocolate. Some are dark chocolate, some are milk chocolate, right? But they're all chocolate. They're gorgeous. They're just handsome. And
Right.
growing up, I'm the youngest now, and growing up around them, they were always clean as a hotel chitlin, and they had the finest chocolate sisters in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, right? And I'm looking at this, and I'm saying to myself, I never admitted it publicly. I wished that I was chocolate. That's
Wow.
really what I wanted to be. I wanted to be chocolate, man. I wanted to be brown. Now, there was no biological way that was ever going to happen. But I think what I made up in my mind, what I said in my own mind, yeah, they're Black, they're beautiful, but I'm going to out-Black them. Right? I'm a know more. I'm gonna learn ancient Black history, modern Black history. I'm gonna out-Black them, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be able to talk like Malcolm, think the critical thinking of Malcolm. I'm gonna out-Black my beautiful brown brothers, because it was really a psychological overcompensation. That's really,
Yeah.
really what it was, right?
Wow.
And I never admitted that publicly,
Wow.
but it's the truth. It is. I mean, that's really the truth. And so I say all that to say that I have tremendous admiration, not only for how beautiful you are, Brother Bedford, are beautiful, woke, conscious, brothers with great minds, right?
Mm.
When I grow up someday, I want to be like you, right? When I say that, and I can't even tan. I can't even tan. If I go in the sun, man, I get red. I get burned up, right? I can't even tan right, right? So, um, I, I have that secret admiration when I see you speak and I hear Brother Bedford speak, man, and I'm listening to your words and my eyes are closed and I'm pretending I'm chocolate, you know. um, so that's just my confession for today. Uh, we announced today on my social media page a new Negro Please Award. And the way I spell Negro is capital E, capital GROW. And
Right,
then I
right.
say PLEEZ, Negro Please. And it'll be a monthly award that the 100,000 people that follow me on social media will make suggestions on who will get the Negro Please Award that month. Now, the subtitle of the Negro Please Award, so we can give it some meaning, is for adding to the embarrassment of Black people worldwide. All right. That's what that means. You have added to the embarrassment of Black people worldwide. So this month you get the Negro Please Award. I'm thinking about making a Netflix series out of this once we get an
I
accumulated
love it.
number.
I love it.
Negro, right? So I want you to think, and Brother Bedford, you can chime in on this if you want to. If just off the top of your head, if you could present the Negro Please Award to somebody right now, would it be, let's say, a Vernon Jones, the Georgia Democrat, who
He's up
now
there.
came out in support of Donald Trump?
Right.
I don't know who's on your mind, but if you could give one, who would you give it to? I mean, if you don't have to answer that if you don't want to,
Oh,
but
I'd love to answer it. I promise you. I'd love to answer it and say, Negro, please,
right.
to either him and they're neck and neck, or our Surgeon General. Our Surgeon General,
Oh,
who, for
six people
whatever
recommended.
reason,
Right.
just could have kept his mouth shut, but when he opens it, he decides to tell us as an answer to, what's going down with the disproportionate way that this virus is attacking Black people. This Negro has the nerve to say we need to stop smoking tobacco, stop drinking, tell Big Mom and all that, and we need to step up. Instead of him stepping up, he tells us to step up, as he does not even use his position in order to speak truth to power and express to the president how ignorant he is, and help him to understand why he has asthma, why his community suffers from heart disease, obesity, and all of these things in these food deserts. And so he misses a great opportunity, and instead he decides he's going to chastise us. And for that, I can say, Negro police.
Amen. What would be your advice to brothers and sisters, or your cure for COVID-19 boredom? No, I'm not bored, but I'm going to say, what would be your cure? What would you recommend? Because I see texts and social media stuff. I'm bored out of my brain. What would be your cure for COVID-19 boredom?
Well, I mean, I basically outlined what I want to accomplish during this season. I've made up my mind that I don't want to come out of this crisis the same person I went in. And more than that, I don't want my church, I don't want my community to be the same as a result of this. And so I have spent the first 30 days just basically listening and envisioning, what are we going to look like when we come out of this bad boy? And then on top of that, in order to inform and feed that, I have a book list that I basically have said at the end, because I'm trying to come out of this better, because I want our people to come out better, my church to come out better. What on my reading list is going to help us move from where we are to where we need to be. And so basically, I'm running through my reading list, and I allocate every single day, 2 to 3 hours for reading. And then when I decide, hey, I need to just chill out and do some mindless, nothing, no thinking, then I watch some stuff that makes me laugh. I go through my favorite comedians. Don't judge me. I got to hear a little Richard Pryor. Got to have some Bebe's Kids. And I just let them make me laugh for a minute. And then, I'm blessed with a wonderful wife, a wonderful daughter, and they're in this house, and we play games and decide to do what we can to entertain each other. So the thing is, there's a whole lot we can do if we just decide, okay, I want to come out of this better. And at the same time, I need to take some time to chill. At the same time, I need to take some time to entertain myself, to entertain others, because, we got it like that.
Yeah. Have you learned anything about yourself?
Oh, my God.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there's so much time for introspection. Right. I've never had this much up close and personal time for personal introspection. That is really one element of entertainment for me. What am I learning about me? What am I doing now that I never made time for that was wrong? Right.
Yeah.
Have you learned anything about yourself?
Oh, man. The one thing that is at the top of the list that I'm really working on now, because it's something I have to, really be honest about, and I've had to apologize to God for, and that is, I'm blessed with certain gifts, and there are moments where I will allow the gift to kind of compensate for not bringing my A game by way of preparation to the moment, because the gift is going to be there. The gift God has just blessed me with. But then there are times when it's like, okay, I just kind of slide on the gift instead of working harder. And I'll tell you where I got that from. I got that from watching last Sunday, the piece that was so anticipated, The Last Dance, Michael Jordan, Chicago Bulls. And I looked at how hard Michael Jordan at the top of his game was working.
Right.
As gifted as the brother was, every off season, he decides, I'm going to improve another aspect of my game. And so I made a commitment during this crisis that I've got to every year make a commitment to step up my game in some area. And so that's my commitment that has come out of this, because again, the gift blinded me to the fact I don't always bring my A game.
Yeah. That's fabulous. Are you working on a book? Are you working on a new book?
I am. I'm also, ironically, I'm in a PhD program working on a second doctorate.
Wait a minute. Wait, don't you already have a PhD?
I have one, but I'm working on another one.
Okay.
And honestly, if I really, dig deep to the rootage of it, it kind of started with coming to the conference every year. And there's something about the affirmation of a community that lifts you up. And so here I have George Fraser, Linda Clemens, speaking of my oratorical skills. And I'm like, I've never studied this. And if I'm going to get better at it, I want to do a deep dive academically. And so I'm working on a PhD in African American preaching and sacred rhetoric. And so I'm studying this whole thing of rhetoric in our history as a people. And again, that started at the conference. So what's happening is my major professor and advisor, he is, feeling what we're trying to do, the gifts and all of that stuff. And so he has challenged me to come out of this crisis with a book in terms of how Black people deal with crises, and use it as something for our community to birth, again, a new vision of possibility.
Beautiful. Speaking of Linda Clemens, I have my phone over here and I have it on vibrate. And so Linda Clemens plays as my sideline coach, right? And so he's constantly, buzzing me, check on this, ask this question. It's wonderful. It's like having a sideline coach and a Super Bowl team, right?
Ain't nobody like her.
She's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
No question about that. I love her. I'm just going to ask you some quick questions that you give 5-second answers to, right? These
Okay.
sort of our closing series of questions. If you were to die and come back as a person or a thing, what do you think it would be?
Martin King, Frederick Douglass, anyone who's advancing our cause.
Yeah, that. What is your most treasured possession?
Wow. I'll admit it. My Porsche. I love it.
Well, it's awesome. It's beautiful.
You've seen it.
That's right. And again, I did ask possession. I didn't say human being.
Right.
Because we know the answer to that. So yeah, the Porsche is a beast. If you could wave a magic wand other than Dallas, where would you love to live?
Cape Town, South Africa.
Fabulous, right?
Oh my God. Yeah, you get why those white folk wanted it so bad.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's something paradise-like about it.
That's right. What is the quality that you most like in a man, a woman, or a friend? The quality that you most like in a man, woman, or a friend?
I have to say intellect. I am turned on by the way people think who know how to.
Yeah. It sounds like to me in your younger days, prior to marriage, that you were sapiosexual. You were sapiosexual.
I love that word. I love it.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
That turned on by intellect.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. I feel you on that. Yeah. Absolutely. What do you value most in your friends?
I'd say genuineness and authenticity, being who they are authentically and being genuinely so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Who are your favorite writers?
James Baldwin, Toni Morrison, love me some George Fraser. Not just because you're here, I've said that behind your back. Alice Walker gets me too.
Yeah.
I love Alice Walker and Michael Eric Dyson.
Yeah. Michael's a beast, no question about it.
Beast all day.
Who are your heroes in fiction and in real life?
Oh, wow. Well, in fiction, I have to say that I'll never forget how I felt watching Black Panther. Yes. And all that means, and the vibranium, and I guess what really the biggest part about Black Panther that got me was the outfit that his sister made, and he could take a hit, and somehow the hit would work through him, and instead of hurting him, it empowers him. And that for me became like, that's Black folk. That's us. We are superheroes. Right. We are Black Panther, in that we keep taking hits, but somehow that hit does not damage us, but somehow it develops us. It empowers us, and is on and popping after that. So I went too long on that answer, but
that's good. That's good. That's a lesson right there. That's a lesson. I love that. It's a metaphor. That's a powerful lesson. And the final question, you don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but what is your favorite curse word? Now, I know you're a pastor.
Oh, wow.
It probably is damn, because that's in the Bible.
It is. It's definitely in the Bible, and I use it often. So so if it's gonna be quantitative use, damn wins. Damn,
There
damn,
you,
damn.
there you
And
go.
then you gotta say it like black folks say it, damn.
Damn. That's right. There you go. It's actually, it sounds like it's two syllables, right? The way we
Yeah,
say it, right?
yeah.
There you go. Um, when will your book be ready? How can people get your books? You've written many books. How, are they on Amazon or what's the deal here? Let's monetize some of this.
Oh yeah, well thank you. I appreciate that. My favorite book is again the product of this amazing power networking conference, hooked up by George Fraser, inspired, driven by that coach in our ear, the
Mhm.
wonderful Linda
Right.
Clemens. I don't
That's
even
right.
have a book if it had not been for her doing this. And then I actually like it that she forced me to do it. And so this book is called Rocking the World with Your Words, really crafting
Woo!
that message of empowerment that changes the world. And get it on Amazon. You can reach out to me, FD Haynes at friendshipwest.org. And I promise you, I'll hook you up. But again, this is my favorite one. The next one is still in, it's still in process because I want to, like you, and you really helped me with that. I got to get that theme. I got to get that subject
That's
nailed. And then I have a lot of notes, but until I get that subject
right.
nailed, I'm not there yet.
There
It's in
you.
gestation, to use George's word.
Yeah, yeah, amen. No, that's powerful. Amazon, get the new book, Rockin' Your World
The
is
world
the name of it,
with your words.
with new words. Oh, that's a powerful title. Now, you could write a whole book just on that title, right? I mean,
Oh
which is what
man,
you did, right?
yeah.
Which is what you did. That is awesome, awesome, awesome. It is so good to have you with us. We've gone a little bit over, but we spent a little bit more time on just helping to develop for our viewing audience who you really are.
Thank you.
You're a giant. You are considered to be one of the top pastors, great pastors living in America today. Every place I go and mention your name, people tend to genuflect, especially if they are a pastor. They hear your name. I mean, you said it earlier. It's what people say when you're not around than what they say when you
Yeah,
are around. And
yeah.
every place I go, and your name comes up for one reason or another, it is nothing but love and nothing but respect, and which is how I feel about you. And so we are honored. I know you don't do a lot of these. You're very busy, but you have a little time. We all have a little time now. So thank you for gracing us with the power of words and the power
Thank you.
of presence and the
Thank you.
power of chocolateness, right? Rich chocolateness, right? Oh my God. Um, I really appreciate you. I do. I love you, man. And you have meant so much to me. You've given me so much. You have mentored me in ways that you will never know. You've inspired
Wow.
me in ways of which you will never know. And I'm so grateful for your time. I really, really am. I just want to close out while I have you on the screen with just a reminder to the thousands that are watching this tonight. This is a special moment. This will be replayed over and over and over on all of the 7 platforms that we are simultaneously streaming this on. This is out on 7 platforms. That's why the numbers tend to get so large. I expect on this one, as Reverend Dr. Jamal Bryant, he had 27,000 views.
Wow.
27,000 people on his words. I don't
That's awesome.
expect it to be
That's
any
awesome.
less than that for your words. Now, right now, Pastor Jamal Bryant holds the record. Now, I'm not going to ever invite him back because I had the record before this Negro showed up. right? And I was pounding my, I'm all that in a bag of chips. I got me 17,000 views. Well, it took me 2 weeks to get that, by the way. He got 25,000 views in an hour. All right. So I know what he did, though. I know what he
Wow.
did, Freddie. You know what he did? He had
What is it?
every one of his 9,000 congregants watch the video 3 times. That's what he did, man. He cheated. He cheated, right? He cheated. He cheated. But I love him. I love him. You're going to do well, no question about that. I want to remind everybody about the Power Networking Conference. As you know, we changed the date. It was just the right thing to do. July 8th through the 11th is just too early after all of this mitigated, right? So we needed to give our brothers and sisters at least 4 to 5 months to recover psychologically and to feel safe, to recover economically if that was necessary. So we pushed it out to the last quarter of the year. It is in Houston, Texas, at the Hilton of Americas, October 14th through 17th. We've sent out all kinds of notifications. I think I made a mistake on the date, one day on the official notification, but we have fixed that. So just remember that. Now, this is like no other conference in the world, as I've said to you many times. Forbes magazine, this is the flyer from the conference. Forbes magazine named it one of the top 5 conferences in America not to be missed, right? Not one of the top 5 Black conferences, but one of the top 5 of all the conferences in this country, right? Not to be missed. So you want to be in the house. There will be over 1,000 attendees. There are over 50 speakers, over 40 workshops for intensive learning. We are a training conference. We do not pontificate ad nauseum about our issues, okay? We are about training. There are 30 interactive spaces, there are 2 stages, there are 4 meals, and there's one amazing experience. This year we're featuring, again, Reverend Dr. Freddie Haynes will be closing it. Reverend Dr. Jamal Bryant will do the opening prayer. Boyce Watkins will do a special presentation and we'll interview him, along with none other than Dr. Julius Garvey, the son of Marcus Garvey, will be getting our first International Marcus Garvey Award. Yes, the son of Marcus Garvey will be with us. He will have words and we'll interview him. So you want to be there. It will be a very, very, very special time. By October, we will be ready to embrace and love on each other because Black people fundamentally miss each other anyway. Right? Now we're held back from being with each other. When it's time to unleash the Kraken, so to speak, we are going to want to be with each other, and you're going to want to be in that place, in that space. So here's a special offer. As you know, it's only good for 5 people because it's a crazy offer. It's a crazy offer, so we limit it to the first 5 people. You get it by emailing me. gfraser@frasernet.com, 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 Fraser, gfraser@frasernet.com. You say, I'm in, put your name and your cell phone number so I can call you directly. Yes, I will be calling you to see how intelligent you are. Okay, so here's the offer. A full registration, adult registration for the Power Networking Conference is $1,500. If you met one person that could help change the trajectory of your life, would that be worth $1,500? Held to the yes, it would be worth it. You're going to meet more than one person. It's going to change your life. It's going to be an immersive and totally life-changing experience. I promise you that. We encourage all of our adults to bring a young person to sit at the feet of masters. We should be conferencing with our young people, 17 to 25. We call it college age. A student registration is $800. So a student registration and an adult registration is $2,300. We're going to take $1,900 off of that. We're going to make both of them $399.
Wow.
It cost us more than that to feed you in a 5-star hotel. $399. 5 people. All emails are time-stamped. So the first 5 will get a call from me. Okay, that's the offer. You email me, gfraser@frasernet.com, just simply saying the subject matter, I'm in, put your name and put your cell phone number, and I will personally get in touch with you. So that's the offer. We were blessed tonight by a living saint and genius, talking about a wordsmith, both in the written and spoken word. You're looking at him. We're sitting at the feet of a master. We thank you for taking time out of your night to be with us. Reverend Dr. Freddie Haynes, love you.
Love you.
Fabulous. Keep doing God's work. We'll see you in October. Brother Bedford, do you have any closing thoughts?
Yeah, just before you have your closing remarks, George, I just want to tell Pastor Haynes that, again, I thank God for you, brother. You are just an example of the excellence that we possess and the way that you raise the bar to make sure that we all step up our game. I'm just always edified by being in your presence and the presence of your family. I'm always lifted by listening to you and your wife with the knowledge that you all possess. I just want to say thank you. One last thing, one last announcement, just to make sure. I know a lot of the individuals out here, they were working on the new law today for the additional funds for the businesses, the PPP program. And I know a lot of you have questions. And this Saturday, we're going to have Ron Busby, who is the CEO of the U.S. Black Chamber, on to answer all of your questions, to make sure that you get all of the appropriate knowledge so that you can apply properly and go through the appropriate channels to make sure that you get a piece of those funds. So perfect timing. We have Ron Busby, CEO of the U.S. Black Chamber, this Saturday at 7 o'clock. So make sure you put that on your calendar and you begin to share that with all of your friends and family. So that's all I want to say, George. And again, thank you, Pastor Haynes and George. Right back to you with your closing remarks.
Well, I have no closing remarks other than peace and love. Freddie Haynes, keep doing God's work. Stay the course. You've charted a good and righteous course. Stay that course, my brother, and all that is due you will come to you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Take care, everyone. And we are clear.